Rick, thank you for doing this. So, first question that I begin with is, where were you born?
I was born in Madrid, Spain.
And how long did you stay in Madrid, Spain? Because I know you're from Brussels based now.
I'm not sure how long I stayed in Madrid. I was born in Madrid, then I lived in some village in Valencia province. I mean, the region of Valencia is not a province. It's a province by American terms, but it's a región. For a bit, and then I was back in Madrid, and then we moved out of Spain to Belgium when I was 7. A little bit after my birthday, so yeah.
And you've been there ever since, kind of?
No. I grew up in Brussels. I studied in Brussels. I started working in Brussels, and then I went abroad for work. And then I've been back in Brussels for a bit over a year now.
So it seems like kind of your work allows you the freedom of just traveling around and having some.
No, it wasn't the freedom. It was like I was posted in different countries. So I was living in different countries for my work.
So for those of us that don't know, what is your regular job other than just killing on stage?
My regular job, my day job, the one that gives me money to pay my rent and all that, is I check. I mean, I used to be an environmental program manager, following up on environment projects and rural development projects in developing countries or in least developed countries. And then I switched to check contracts and do financial follow-up on projects that we finance. So instead of looking at what we do, I look at how we do it technically in terms of legal and numbers.
Okay, kind of like an auditor maybe?
My team would recruit auditors who are independent to check in the project. So my team will do risk assessments and see where we need to audit. And
so it seems like your project, your group is a much bigger kind of umbrella that manages all these smaller things.
Yeah, I guess what corporate people would call it would be something similar to internal compliance.
Okay. Now I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and we also do procurement. Yeah.
Which is kind of getting the raw materials needed?
Well, procurement is the administrative action of purchasing goods and services or works. And there's a whole process to do that when you work for the public sector of transparency. You have to publish a bunch of documents. You have to receive the offers. You have to evaluate the offers. You have to sign the contracts. All of that is a procurement process.
So as someone that works in Europe, and especially for the public sector, here we all know that our public sector, there's so much red tape to get anything done. It takes forever. Is the same translating into, I guess, underserviced communities and countries and Europe abroad?
I think it's worse for us. We have a longer history of red tape than the US. So we have a lot of red tape everywhere. I'm not just talking about my own work. I'm just talking daily life. Like if you need anything done, like you need a driving license, you need a permit to do this, you need a permit to do that. It's endless.
It's worse than here. Because people will tell you, I don't know. There's probably hours of material comedians have done on how bad the DMV is here, like a Department of Motor Vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming the DMV is kind of like, whoever works for the DMV in any country is the same person. Something about it that's just, I don't know. It's terrible everywhere, yeah.
Okay. So, darn.
Yeah.
I guess nobody has it better.
No.
Okay.
No.
That's not what I was expecting.
I literally had to get my ID renewed not long ago because I lost it. I thought I lost it. I thought I had lost my wallet. Turns out I hadn't lost my wallet. I just dropped it behind something behind a shelf or something.
No shit.
And I went to get my new ID. Miracle, I got some pretty quick appointment. That was kind of like a random thing. I would expect it to take me a month to get an appointment, but I got it within 2 days. It was kind of crazy. But then I get there and you have to bring ID photos. This is in Brussels, and I bring my ID photos. And I was like, oh, this is not the right size photo. I'm like, it was off like by I don't know how much this is in inches, but like not a lot.
You mean ID photo, like as in when you get like so here when you get a passport, you take a photo in like a third-party place and take it to the passport office. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
So for us here, IDs and driver's licenses, at least on the local state level, they'll take the picture there on the spot, and then it'll just be printed on it.
In Spain as well. Even in Thailand, they do it like that. But in Belgium, first developing and one of the top 10 whatever countries of developed countries in the world that has all the money in the world, you have to go to a subway stop into like a machine where you put that's a certified machine where you pay manually there, and then you have to get printed photos so they can cut it out and put that printed photo in their little scanner. And she was telling me that the photos I had, that's clearly a Spanish size. That's way too small. I'm like, it's my bloody face that's on that other ID. Like, what is the problem here? It's like, I don't, whatever. It's so, yeah. And I had to,
Oh man,
And
I think I hit like a point.
no, dude. And I was like, am I gonna lose my appointment because of this? No, it's okay. You can come back. I was like, okay, thank God, because like I was in a rush to try. This was happened like pretty like only a couple of weeks before having to travel here. So before traveling for Christmas to Spain, I was really stressed out with this. Anyway,
and even though Europe is kind of centrally connected to one another, it's very easy to travel. Without ID, it can be a headache.
Yes, and every single country has their own rules for their IDs. It's not. This has not been. It's still.
It's not universal.
No, it's not universal because I think one of internal national security is still a national. This is linked to national policy instead of like EU policy. Some things are transversal and the rules apply for every EU nation.
Okay.
And other things, the country themselves have the right to apply things the way they want.
That makes sense. Okay. It's kind of like our federal government and the state level.
Kind of, yes. Exactly.
Because no driver license in any state looks like any other state or has the same restrictions or provisions on how to, like, there's certain rules that don't translate state by state, actual driving rules.
That's true. That's wild.
Because in California, a motorcyclist is allowed to split between lanes, but on, I think, every other state, it's illegal. And there's like these stupid little things that if you don't know, you can get a ticket for your, like another thing in California, you can make a right turn on a red light if you're on the far right lane.
But so, here too, right?
I think here too, but in Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and a bunch of other states, you're not allowed to make a right turn on a red light. And it doesn't say it anywhere. It's just like, you're here, you're supposed to know our laws.
Yep, well, pretty much the same.
So there is no greener pastures, I guess, on the other side. We all have the same shit going on.
Kind of, yeah.
That's good.
No, it should be solved.
I mean, if we're all at a level playing field, at least we can solve it one day.
Maybe.
I don't know. It doesn't actually matter, I guess. It's just, it makes for good comedy once in a while.
Yeah, I just hate it so much. I don't even want to joke about it. It gives me PTSD to just think about it. Like, I don't even know when comedians talk about their problems in a flight, I'm like, I just want to forget that flight. I just want to forget everything that happens to me while I'm in a plane.
Really? You don't find any reason to kind of like make humor out of it? It's so
I just want it
painful.
over with. I just want it over with. Just get me out of this plane.
And especially like if you're traveling from Europe to America, depending on where you're going, it could be like 14, 16-hour flights, couple of stops here and there. Yeah. You're exhausted. It's been about a day and a half.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
It's not fun. No.
But it is what it is.
So when did you kind of become interested in comedy? How did that come about?
Interested in comedy at large since I'm a kid, I guess.
I mean like stand-up comedy, when did it become something of an interest? Because it almost always is like some sort of an interest, and then it becomes an inspiration, and then you decide to get on stage one day.
Yeah, timing-wise, now I can't recall. So I know there's a few things that happened at the same time, roughly in time, and I don't know what I was looking at first, but I remember watching the end clips of Seinfeld, and there was stand-up at the end, because he was always doing stand-up at the end.
That's right, yeah.
So that was kind of like one of the first things I saw with stand-up. And then another thing was when I went to visit my dad in LA. He used to live there, and he was an SNL fan, and he loved stand-up. So he showed me a few things, and I was like, oh wow, okay. I remember he showed like Louis Black to me and things like that. I was like, oh, that's amazing.
He's right next to you.
Oh, there you go. He's the first stand-up I remember watching ever.
He
other than Eddie Murphy,
Yeah. They live on this wall for a reason. There's like these certain names where you call it out, not just comedians, but the community at large will probably know who they are and why they were impactful. Louis Black was just amazing.
He was amazing, and also I still remember to this day.
Still is amazing, actually.
No, he was just in Brussels, and I missed it because it's kind of annoying. Anyway,
well, because you're pursuing a career in America.
Exactly, but he had this joke about visiting Boston and how the weather was so gray. And he had to slit his veins open just to see any color. And it hit so hard because I lived in Brussels, where it rains all the time and it's gray all the time, and you have very few days of sunlight in Brussels per year. It's one of the worst cities in Europe for sunlight days. It just causes depression amongst the whole population.
That's what I wanted to ask. Is do you guys have the Seattle problem, where really 100%. A lot of depression because of the weather?
Yeah. With the one difference that maybe, I don't know about Seattle. I've visited Seattle, but I haven't lived in Seattle. So I can't say I don't know how it is day in, day out. But I think people in Brussels have learned to live with it. So the vitamin D, the lack of vitamin D is there, but because you don't have the sunlight.
But,
But people will be like, if it's not because it's raining that you don't go out. It's not because it's gray that you don't go to a terrace or to a bar. Like the city's full of bars and people still go out and hang out. They don't let the bad weather stop them from enjoying life.
You got to
Yeah.
just kind of adapt to it. I mean,
Yeah.
spend some time in Texas and
Yeah.
you'll see how our summers can be. And there's still people out all the time,
Oh,
even though it's just blisteringly hot day and
Of
night.
course, yeah.
Because that is also depressing. People don't get it. Like 3 months of just
Heat.
nonstop gets to you.
Oh, yeah.
And like the little bit of relief of just like going out
Yeah.
still is something you want to do.
I'd say it's like spring and autumn in Brussels. If it's not too rainy, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Yeah, you can see the autumn leaves, and the spring is really nice, and flowers are coming out everywhere. It's really pleasant, and you can walk, but you can do that. The thing is, generally what happens is like, it's like you're at the office, and it's like sunny, 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 sunny. Saturday, rain. Sunday, rain. Monday, sunny. Like you hate yourself.
Kind of sounds like God's fucking with Brussels a little.
Oh, but that's what. Ask anybody in Brussels; they'll confirm that.
It seems like he's just playing a practical joke on you guys all week long.
It's this way. There's a lot of atheists in Brussels at this point.
Is that a big thing in Brussels, I guess, or in Europe in large, or is Europe still based in Christianity and Catholicism?
I can't talk for all of Europe, but I would say in terms of like the western part of Europe, not Central and Eastern Europe.
Okay.
There's definitely been, I don't know the numbers, but there's definitely been a historical decline of affiliation to religion.
I mean, the same way it's here.
Yeah.
There's been a major like drop off within the last 50 years of people having a faith. Doesn't matter if it's Christianity or Islam, whatever it may be.
But like right now, like even friends of mine who tell me they're Christian and they believe in God, they won't go to church on Sundays.
Yeah.
Because it's just the habit's lost, you know. They'll go to if they have kids, the kids will get communion and all that. But in terms of like having to be in church and being committed to the structure, this has really changed.
Maybe some of it might be because we no longer yearn for community, and the church really was a place where everybody would congregate, especially in smaller cities and towns. Just that was the place you would go to see everyone, and your kids would play together. I think since we've kind of modernized our world in such rapid succession, we don't really understand that these small institutions that kept human connections going are kind of degrading away.
I mean, I don't know. I was at a sports bar yesterday and it was packed. So,
oh yeah, UFC fight.
Yeah.
Is that what you're watching?
Yeah. I mean, we went there to because it was after a show just to eat, but it was perfect. I got to see. I haven't seen the whole card yet, so
I won't ruin it. I won't say anything.
But I saw the last
really
three
good fights.
I saw the last 3 fights. Yeah. So I saw the main event. And,
okay, so you saw the really good fights.
Yeah.
The prelims were okay, and then the first 2 fights were really good too. There was just a lot of like 2 guys that just really ambitious and wanted to prove something that day.
Good.
So there's just like blood everywhere.
Nice.
Yeah. Like if you like combat sports,
yeah,
the first 2 fights were really good. Not to mention the other 3. They're just nuts. I mean, it was it was an upsetting night too. Everybody thought someone was gonna win.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to ruin it just in case, but other people won that weren't kind of like the favorite.
Yeah.
But it also sets up a lot of cool rematches that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
Depending.
Let's see what happens. I still haven't because I had the show and then I went to sleep and then this morning we were visiting Dallas. I still haven't. Normally I would read everything after the day after and just go over it and see everything like on MMA Junkie or Bloody Elbow, all of that, just all of the analysis. But now I can't.
It's okay.
I'll catch up
at some point on your. So tonight after the show, you drive back to Austin, or are you still hanging out in Dallas, or where do you go? Because I know you're touring now, right?
Not touring. No. I have a show, and then after that, maybe we'll stay for a drink, and maybe not, and then maybe we'll. I'll drive back to Austin.
And how long are you going to be in the States for?
Until Wednesday.
And then back to Brussels.
Yes, sir. So
you have kind of become an internet phenom, and I wanted to ask you about this because it's like marketing genius. I love the play that you did. I actually got to see you live before your Kill Tony first appearance.
Where were you?
Banana Phone in Austin.
You saw me at Banana Phone?
I was in the front right next to Mike Eaton, dude. That was the greatest thing in the world. I saw you that night. I took a picture and I actually sent it to you, if I'm not mistaken. I was like, that was fucking awesome. I tagged you in it.
I can't remember. Maybe I can't remember everything, but I mean,
No. Okay.
I bombed for a minute, I guess, and then people were just shitting on me. I love Banana Phone. I love that show.
I think that's the whole point. Even if you're really funny, people don't want to laugh just so they can kind of like amp you up and have fun. Because you opened with this, and I'm not going to say the joke, but it's the microphone one.
Oh, the microphone stand joke, yeah.
And that one did really well on Kill Tony, and it also did really well that night. I was like, this is fucking funny. And it was a good icebreaker. So I think Banana Phone is formatted in such a way that even if you're like murdering, most of the crowd is there to fuck around.
Yeah.
So they don't want to give you that, like, they don't want to amp you up more than you already are.
Yeah.
But you did, like, you could tell that right from the jump, you were ready with comebacks, and you were just like, you weren't just taking it, you were giving it back. And
I mean,
we were having fun with it.
I was trying, I was trying to, like, you have to be really quick on your feet. And the people that do the panel at Banana Phone are doing this so often. They are sharp, like, they're sharp. I'm not as sharp. I was just doing my best to, like, hold on to the thing, like, to, like, preserve my dignity. But the advantage I have on Banana Phone is, first of all, my humor is self-deprecation. So I'm like, okay, if people shit on me, I'm just dying laughing.
Yeah,
the funnier it is, I just want it to be funny, and I just die laughing. I've seen so many comedians there get defensive and being like, "Oh, this hurts. This really hurts," you know. And I'm like, just if they have a good point, I'll just have fun with it.
I have the same opinion when I see comedians on Kill Tony kind of like get offended, and my first reaction is like, have you never seen the show?
Yeah.
Like, have you missed all 10 years of it and you just stumbled into a bar by accident? Like, that doesn't just, like, you came here, and depending on who's sitting at the table next to Tony, you can get, like, fucking roasted for a good 10 minutes straight. And if you suck, let it go, dude.
No, one issue I had on the, it's not out yet, but, like, on one of my latest appearances was, Tony was asking me questions.
Okay.
And at the same time, the guest was roasting me.
Oh.
And I was really struggling I need to answer that question that Tony asked because it's relevant and an answer is needed. But I also have to address the fact that I'm being roasted. So I had to generate information for both at the same time. And I was like, I didn't feel comfortable at all. Because it's a lot of, like, I know I could roast you right and respond to this right if I can just focus on this. And I can give a good answer to this question if I can just focus on this. But right now I'm like, it was tough. But I got it. It was fine.
And I think that usually comes from maybe a novice guest or someone that's overzealous, because the people that have been there a few times generally know, like, when Tony starts to speak, it's time for you not to, because he's gathering information for potentially this person's future.
Exactly.
It may sound like, what's the worst thing in your fridge? But depending on how creative the answer is, it could make or for break. Because, like, I've seen Tony go like, your audition was way better than your set. Keep working at it because there's a lot of funny in there. Things get unlocked from, and a lot of these guys are just like year 1 or year 3 into comedy, and they haven't found their voice and don't really know what they want to do. And it could be the small trigger that kind of unlocks the potential.
Maybe, yeah.
So
it's
it's
an
frustrating,
process.
though, right?
No, what's frustrating?
Well, that kind of trying to
split
yourself in two.
Yeah, I had to split myself in two. And when I went off stage, I was in my head a lot about how things had gone. But then, like, a couple days later, I had been able to talk to people that gave me, like, outsider's perspective on how it went, and they said it went well. So it was okay, fine. I came across okay. So if you're not in my head, it was fine. And then on the other hand, I was thinking, well, this guy roasted me, and I can clip that out. So it's like just like doing the math of what I can do with all of it.
So that's kind of that's where we started the question of, like, how the marketing side of your brain kind of, because I think a lot of comedy now is not waiting to get that sitcom to become famous or go on Letterman. It's how do I brand myself and how do I kind of, like, catch on fire?
I mean, honestly, I've been posting clips online for over 3 years and nothing was really working. Like, I got some videos that did a little better than others, but it wasn't. Was
Kill Tony the kind of like a jump point?
Huge jump point.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So to that, when you first came to the States, was Austin the spot that you went to directly, or did you do New York, Chicago,
No,
L.A.?
I mean, it was my first time doing comedy in the U.S., and I chose Austin after thinking about it quite a bit.
And so,
And it wasn't, and Kill Tony wasn't the deciding factor of why I came to Austin.
what was? What give you, like, what was it that was like, this is the place I want to be
Well, I
at?
had been to Texas before, but not to Austin. I had liked Texas.
Okay. What part of Texas?
Well, I had been to Dallas, Houston.
Did you do stage time when you were out here?
No, I wasn't doing comedy.
Oh, it
I
was
was
for
just
work
tourism. No, it was
related.
tourism.
Okay.
Yeah. And okay, but I've been to LA, I've been to New York, and I was like, maybe these are good places because I know the cities. Like I love LA, I love New York, and but then I was reading about how the scene is in one place. Like in LA, it was like, yeah, it's tough because you have to drive to all of these clubs. They're far away from each other. You spend a lot of time in the car. Then you have to queue. You have to wait. You don't know, and then you lose a spot at the other place because it's far away and it's tough. And I was like, that sounds like a pain. And I was looking at New York, and it was a lot of you have to pay to perform, and you have to do bringer shows. I was like, that's a pain. And Austin was like, no, you can just sign up and just do a spot. And you have to wait because there's a lot of comedians. And I thought, okay, I like Texas. It's free to perform. So I thought, let's go there.
And you can, if you're good in Austin, I know it's a saturated comedy scene right now. It's a saturated art scene right now, and it should be because that's where it's happening. But if you're really good, you're going to stand out very quickly. And I'm sure
there's a lot of really good people, though. There is many very good people.
Sure. And I think they will all have their turn and they will stand out.
Yeah.
Very quickly in the comedy world is, for people that don't know, usually the rule that I've heard from all comedians is like 10 years in, and then you start finally making a name for yourself.
Yeah.
In Austin, it seems like you can be really good and fast track that a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But you have to be ready to be in the trenches.
So are you in their trenches now? Do you feel like...
I mean, I feel like I definitely got in those trenches hard.
I mean, you were at HEB Arena, for God's
sake.
Exactly. And you fucking murdered, by the way.
I did pretty good. I was happy with my set. My target was do not bomb. My pragmatic target was bring jokes that don't bomb.
Dude, it was the opposite of that. And it was obvious it was the opposite of that.
Well, that's for you to say.
I think, well, if I can voice my opinion of that evening, nothing against Hans Kim in any way. Like, I love the guy. I've been watching him for years on Kill Tony, and he's very funny. I thought you won that night. My personal opinion.
Yeah.
But
Shane Gillis, I agree with that opinion.
Shane Gillis also agreed with that opinion, and he was
to me honestly, like I liked and I know Hans disagrees with this because we have different opinions about each other's comedy without even talking shit. You know what I mean? Like I thought on that night my jokes were stronger than his. That's how I felt as I was listening to my set and I listened to his set. That was just my opinion. I'm not saying that if you had done other jokes, maybe I would have had a different opinion.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't like comparing you two as
comedians
comedians in the same realm because you guys do such different types of comedy.
Not that different, though, but anyway.
He doesn't self-deprecate as much as you do. And yours is a lot darker material than his is.
Is it?
Yeah. In my opinion, again, I'm not a professional. I'm just a dude sitting on the couch.
I know that I'm that much. I'm a little darker, but
that's not in a bad way. It's
I understand.
It's the same way I don't want to compare Eddie Murphy and Louis Black.
I know. I understand what you're saying. But I mean, I'm just saying, like Apple, like for as much as I know I thought my jokes were better.
Set for set, it was a better set. I want to say your minute or minute 17 was better.
But it was good. But I felt good when Shane Gillis kind of confirmed my assessment because I can have my own opinion. It can matter or not matter. But if they say they felt the same thing as me, then at least I know that I'm not a lunatic. Like I'm not delusional because I could have lost to the crowd as I did, and nobody had expressed any opinion saying that I won. And then I would have thought to me like, what's going on? Because I really thought my jokes were better, and what happened. But at least this way, I know that some people at least that have a valuable opinion agreed with my internal assessment, so I can go home and sleep. Okay, you know what I mean?
It seemed like a very unsympathetic crowd at the end. They showed how unsympathetic they were. Where the guy that's sleeping in his car doesn't get the 10 grand from Mr. Beast, and the dude that fucked too hard gets it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is the type of crowd it was. Like, if I was the one up there, I'd be like, you give it to Shiva
No.
Eri because the guy is like
Listen,
struggling at the
there were
moment.
thousands of people in that crowd. I've received so many messages of people who are super positive who told me they were there, or they met at shows who said they were there. And in that crowd, there were many, many people who also thought I won, and who also thought Hans won, and who just enjoyed the show. And that's what matters at the end of the day.
I think it was just awesome competition to see go
Yeah.
back and forth, especially like the online stuff that you guys were posting up to the live show. It was fun. It was kind of like a revitalization, a re-energizing kind of this hitting each other up and roasting each other and fucking with each other. Kind of like it accelerated both names, I'm sure. It helped both names kind of like do what it was supposed to do, you know, kind of light a fire.
I mean, to a point. The episode's not out at the time that we're recording this yet. It's only been the pay-per-view has been out.
You watched the pay-per-view.
I saw part of it. I don't really want to watch the whole. It was so cringe for me to watch that.
The show?
And what I hate, to me it's cringe to watch myself in video.
Oh,
Just
no. But you'll watch other parts of it.
I mean, I was present. I didn't feel a need to watch the entire streams after.
See, that's the difference. Like I wasn't present. I was at home just watching the live stream and enjoying it. And I was like, okay, this is really funny. And there's a lot of good moments in there. Yeah. But like when you two came on stage, you could tell the energy just went up. Everybody was waiting for it. It was like the title fight.
Yeah, we're just waiting for this. Everything's fine, but when are we getting on to the main thing?
Yeah, and the comedians were hit and miss. The ones that got pulled out of the bucket. Some of them were good, but that's kind of what Kill Tony is. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's what makes the show so fun and interesting to watch.
Yeah, and I agree.
I don't know. It was an interesting night. Definitely. Yeah. Like I said, it was a different crowd.
It's funny because I hear comedians. I might get slack for it. This is my opinion, but I hear a lot of stand-up comedians in Austin are aggravated when bucket pulls on Kill Tony suck, because they're like, these people are taking spots of comedians who are working hard at their comedy. And I tell them, yeah, it's terrible for you as a comedian, but as an outside spectator, it's what creates the drama. It's the fact that these people suck and you get to shit on them and you watch this on TV. It's like watching Jersey Shore or whatever. You know what I mean? It's entertainment at the end of the day. You need good bucket, but that's why the regulars are there, to try to make sure there's an average. At some point, it's going to be some funny. And the bucket pools are just a lottery. And that's what makes it unpredictable. So it keeps the attention on, because is this guy going to suck or not? And then they suck. And then you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they said that. Or, oh, this is funny. That's respect to that person, you know? And but for comedians who are signing up like over 60 times before they can get pulled for over a year or forever, however long, and then they have to see people, oh, it's my first time doing comedy. I can understand why it's annoying.
I can understand that as an outsider looking in, but also as an outsider who enjoys the show and waits for that Monday night YouTube stream to. I don't watch it live because I have kids, so I'll watch it when they're all asleep and enjoy it.
Sure,
but it's something that you wait for, because I love the anticipation of not knowing who's going to get pulled.
Yeah,
and not knowing how funny this person actually is going to be. And sometimes it's more interesting just the conversations that come up, because like the questions go back and forth and it's fun to watch. And the regulars do make for a good flow to the, kind of like Hans is going to come out, and then it was David Lucas, but now it is Cam Patterson. And it's great to have, the way it's set up. And I love, like, once in a while, there'll be like the golden ticket winner that will come up, or Uncle Laser's in town and he'll just step up. And I like seeing that guy's progress too. He went from like just not making it work at all on stage to kind of like he's actually making comedy now, and he's got jokes and stuff. It's cool to see the progress.
Well, at the time of recording this, he's run into a little bit of internet trouble at the moment.
Again?
No, I don't know if again, like this week or so.
Laser has shit happen all the time. But I mean, that's kind of the character.
But I still love Laser. I still love him as a human. Like, I've met him several times, and I just love the dude. Like,
I've never met him. I've only kind of seen the persona that is, but I still feel like there's something really genuine behind that.
There's something. He's actually so smart. That's the thing. He's like, Laser is. To this day, I don't know how much of him is he's pretending to be dumb or not. But he's smart. Like, he's actually smart, and his brain works in a very different way than mine. So I've seen him. Like, when I did his podcast, he was doing ad reads. And I've done podcasts with other people doing ad reads, and the ad reads, I can see like they're kind of reading them, trying to do them, some just reading, some trying to give some. He wasn't reading anything. They were all locked in his brain, and he was just performing the ad reads. And I was just like, and maybe he's done it a bunch of times. I don't care. That's something that I don't see myself being able to ever do. I was just like, blam, blam, blam. And just like really like selling that ad read, you know? And that was something that was like, okay, respect to that. Because it is part of the work, part of the job. And that's what's going to get him get more ad reads because he's doing it well.
If anybody thinks that, like, if you were to make a caricature of Uncle Laser, a lot of that exists in America. Like, there's a bunch of guys that have mullets and tattoos and have a strange story, but it takes something genius or smart or very unique to kind of stand out in that, and then be able to kind of cultivate this following and get out of the oil fields into the internet and kind of like see where this goes.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's great. Like he's got ad reads. I don't have any of that shit. I'm still trying to figure this out. Well, we'll see. You know,
I don't know. I doubt it will come out of this one, but I wish it helps you.
I hope. I know it will. Because it may not help today, but the feeling I have for this podcast is like one of my guests is definitely going to blow up beyond recognition.
I'll tell you this much. This is, of all the podcasts I've done, this is the most comfortable seat.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is it. You won the seat competition.
So when I was thinking and envisioning what and how I wanted this to be, it was always meant to be long form. And I was like, well, if you can't have people be comfortable, then you're going to run into issues of them just wanting to get out of the seat.
Oh, yeah.
And then the only other thing that kind of is how I invite people on is seeing you live. So when I did see you on Banana Phone is the reason I actually invited you to the podcast, because I started following you from that day. I was like, this guy's really funny.
I'm glad you saw me before Kill Tony.
Yeah, so you were, I definitely saw you before the KT episode came out.
Because one thing that was very beautiful, a friend of mine told me when I blew up on Kill Tony was there's a comedian friend from Brussels, Osman Levray on Instagram, and he sent me a little touching message. It's like, dude, it's kind of fun to see that because you're doing the same jokes you're doing at all of the shows that we perform you with. You know, we see you every day or every week. These are the same jokes. You did the same character. You haven't done anything that you were not doing before, and it's kind of cool to see that all of this stuff that you're doing that maybe sometimes goes unappreciated and like we know it's good. But finally it gets recognition because we see it day in, day out. It's not like I was hiding in the shadows with a secret game plan. No, I've been working this character for few years, working on the jokes for a few years. All of my comedian buddies and a lot of people in many audiences have heard those jokes that I was working on.
Yeah.
And it's just like, here they are, like to a bigger platform,
So to that extent, I think being outside of the United States maybe is a hindrance, because us as like the American population maybe will venture into British comedy and see who's great there. Like Eddie Izzard is one of my favorites, and he's a British comedian, Jimmy Carr, and a whole host of other people. But outside of that, it's seldom that you know anybody, because a lot of times the language changes. Us not knowing or being bilingual in a lot of cases have no clue what's going on. And then there's the cultural relevance. Like if I know nothing about Belgium or Brussels, then there's a lot of like jokes that are very localized to that place, which may not translate. But yours is not that. It's just we just didn't know about you. So it's like, thank God you came here, man. It made a big difference.
That's why when I came with that hope.
And I mean, how you said a few years. How long have you been doing comedy?
Less than 5.
Less than 5 years. Yeah. So, and all of it was just kind of like Brussels based.
I started in Southeast Asia.
Really? What part of Southeast Asia?
Bangkok.
How did that come about?
I was living there. I was working there. I was living there, and that's where I started.
And in Bangkok, it's English comedy?
I mean, there are Thai comedians doing comedy in Thai, but I didn't speak Thai, but I was part of the English comedy scene, the English speaking comedy scene.
So what's stand up like out there? How is it the same or different from what we're used to?
It's the same. I mean, there's of course at a more amateur level, there's one club or 2 clubs that try to bring in international headliners.
Okay.
I actually saw Jimmy Carr and Dave Chappelle and Jim Jeffries and Jim Gaffigan in Bangkok.
No shit.
Yeah, so there's people will tour and they'll do Asia tours, and so you can see it's good comedians there. But in the local scene, I saw Todd Barry.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, I was so happy to see him. But like Neil Brennan used to go once a year. Ari Shafir will go once a year, or used to pre-COVID at least. But no, it's the same. It's just comedians trying to learn the craft and just doing open mics. There's not that many mics. There's only a few mics, but it's the same. It's just there's less. To this day, in the, let's say, open mic amateur scene, I still the Bangkok scene is where I've seen the guy that's made me laugh the hardest.
Which is
Harvey Walden. He has
Harvey
no
Walden.
online presence, or barely any online presence. I think he has an Instagram account. Now he moved out of Bangkok and he's teaching. He was teaching English, and now he's teaching English in China. And this guy is a beast. He's a beast. He is anybody that's in the scene in Bangkok, anybody, including any showrunner, anyone from the Bangkok scene knows Harvey Walden is the best in Bangkok. He was the best. Anybody that's been touring through Asia was like, Harvey's the guy. He's that guy that you just see and you're like, what the hell? And I keep messaging him, telling him, dude, come to the US, come back. Like, you are so good. Like, if I can make it, you are gonna just blow people away. But he's insecure. He has these standards. He's so obsessed with comedy. He wants to be so good at it that he thinks he's never good enough.
Oh, yeah. Like,
so he's insecure, but everybody's just like looking up to him like, dude, you are a beast. You are the best. He'll go on higher level playing fields of like plateauing, just improvising stuff on stage when he goes wild. And you're just like witnessing a miracle. I swear to God, I've seen him do stuff. I've seen him bring a room down that only had like 6 to 8 people in. But everybody was just rolling on the floor because he just destroys.
Which is way more difficult to do for people that don't understand. The bigger the crowd, the easier it is to get groupthink and everybody to kind of like laugh together.
Yeah.
Smaller crowds, they'll turn against you very quick.
No. He had like loud laughs and people crying with just barely a few people there because he just he can unlock things inside of people.
Stylistically, who's he similar to? Let's say as one of the like major name, or is there nobody like him?
He's incredibly animated. He looks like a manga character.
Like old Jim Carrey stuff, maybe?
No. Well, yeah,
I guess Robin Williams maybe on stage. Like I'm talking about like 80s and 90s kind
Jim Carrey would be a good one.
Okay.
Without the impressions, but yeah. No. And he'll do voices and just like I just miss watching him. I just watch him at open mics like 2 to 3 times a week. And it was my fun. And I got to, and he's so obsessed with comedy. Like, he would really talk comedy, you know?
I wonder why he doesn't want to come. I mean, other than
like this was a guy.
I get insecurity, but you got to come out here.
No, but this was a guy that we would be like at an open mic at a restaurant that was on Tuesdays. It's called Fatty's. It's run by a guy by Matt, and he like.
And this is Asia
in Bangkok, yeah.
Okay.
It's a guy from Wisconsin.
Of course it is.
He's a great musician. He sells cheese curds and everything. It's an open mic where there's musicians, there's comedians, there's sometimes there was a juggler came in. Like, he's just a Tuesday open mic. Anybody can do anything. And we'd just go there because it's a good hang. But Harvey would go there, and he would walk outside, and he would just be walking down the street rehearsing his set. And we're talking to do 7 minutes at an open mic at a restaurant in Wisconsin, a Wisconsin restaurant in Bangkok.
That's devotion.
And he would just come in, do his set, murder, and then take his stuff and leave. Just hang out for maybe 10 minutes. It was just like, guys, if you can find Harvey Walden on any platform somehow and find him out, just find him and tell him to just bring his comedy to the US.
Shout out to Harvey. I've never seen you live, but hell, you have an open invitation just based off of Ric's endorsement.
I have like clips of him because I would start my camera recording before I went on stage, but I can't release his stuff. Just like there's several of us that have clips of him, you know what I mean? But we can't. It's not his. It's his
intellectual property. Yeah,
it's IP, but it's
especially if it's his material, then that's just kind of like unfair to the comedian.
No, I know, but it's just like.
But if it's crowd work, that'd be.
But
fun.
We all feel that the world is deprived from not seeing Harvey Walden. Like, all of us are like, we talk about it, it's like, man, when is Harvey gonna do something? It's like, it's sad. It's sad.
Is he Bangkok native, or he just ended up there like a lot of people do?
He's Canadian.
Okay.
But I think of Hong Kong or Chinese origins. Yeah.
So there's a lot of funny people that come out of Canada. Jim Carrey is a Canadian.
Yeah.
Well, was, I guess.
No, a bunch of them, yeah.
But yeah, there's a ton of people that have
But-
come out of Canada. I think it's the cold that brings out just like super depression, and they're like, we got to make some way to make fun of this.
Harvey Walden, dude. I know, but there's many funny comedians in Bangkok, and I know all of them. And so, but I know that the fact that I say that Harvey makes me laugh the most is offending nobody, because we all know the truth.
I think all comedians know that there's, you're sitting in a room and you definitely amongst yourself probably know who is the funniest person in that room.
Yeah, but to me it's the same as with like with basketball. You hear these stories of all these NBA players. They all know somebody that was this genius, was amazing in the neighborhood, was way better than them, but he never went to the NBA because of family troubles or personality issues or anxiety issues. They just couldn't make it work, under pressure.
Yeah, I think that's
and I think the
underlying arc for a lot of people. They're like, yeah, but there was this dude in the neighborhood that should have been the rapper because he was way better than me lyrically.
Rap's the same thing.
Unfortunately, he got killed, or this happened, or that happened, or that. And
the thing with Harvey is, I don't know. I can't speak on his behalf because I don't know what's happening. I'm sorry to make it about him instead of me.
No.
But I'm like,
this is about you actually, because
it is.
Seldom do comedians talk about other comedians in such high regard.
Yeah,
except for probably the dead ones.
I'll be honest. Like right, I don't want to shit on Austin, right? But Harvey Walden on a good day levels Austin. Simple as that. I know, like.
Ooh, you're talking about like
no problem. I don't.
Everybody
care.
and their mom is in fucking Austin now.
I'm okay. I'm not talking like like the Joe Rogans of the world, but like anybody that's any like like.
All right. So thank you for clarifying that, because I thought he would have murdered Ron White.
No. But I mean, he's very, 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 very good. He's just. But I'm assuming it's either anxiety or introversion or something is keeping him from facing the pressure of doing comedy with that because any club that he goes to, people are like, anybody that has seen him perform doesn't forget him. And I've met other people like, I saw Harvey when I was in Malaysia or wherever. I saw him in whatever place. And they just like, they know. People that know him know.
I guess for me, the person that I've seen live more than once that just sticks in my mind forever is Harlan Williams.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I haven't seen him.
I got to see him at Addison Improv.
When is this coming out?
2 weeks.
Okay. I can't say much.
I think you already said
I had an interaction with Harlan. Yeah, it was positive.
A positive one?
Yeah, positive one.
I got to see Harlan Addison Improv.
Yeah.
And I also got to see him at Skankfest last year. And neither of the sets had any connection to one another.
Yeah.
Both of them absolutely demolished the rooms.
Sure.
And Addison Improv and Skankfest are completely different crowds. Let's just be honest here.
But he's iconic.
What was so beautiful about his set was that it was almost impossible to know when he was doing crowd work versus his material. He weaved it in so seamlessly.
Oh wow!
It was just watching a master at work, and like he sticks in my mind forever.
It's years of practice plus genius. I mean,
yeah. That guy is on a completely different stratosphere in my opinion.
But how long has he been doing it as well? You know what I mean?
Decades. I mean, him and Chappelle go back to the half-baked movie. So like probably before that he was on a stage.
So I mean, this guy he's got so many chops in his head that happen simultaneously. But it becomes muscle memory for the brain, and he's great.
Yeah,
I've never seen him live. I've never seen him perform live. I wish it's just
But all I can say is that doesn't translate to all comedians. I've seen others live, decades into their career.
Yeah,
still funny, but not memorable to a point where you'd want to mention how much of an impact it made that you like. This is why I remember this person's set. Nothing stands out.
Yeah,
that's rare.
Yeah.
Like for anybody that's watched Eddie Murphy's work, you still know the delirious joke that still makes you laugh in your head.
Yeah.
You don't even have to say it out loud. You could just think about it and you can just laugh. You know which one it is. Same goes with like some of Richard Pryor's work.
Yeah.
This is stuff that will kind of stay forever in certain circles, I would say at least. But I mean, to the whole anxiety thing, it is something that I've noticed a lot of comedians have. They're And that anxiety almost always translates into really great comedy when they can kind of figure out how to channel it. Is that something that you've dealt with? Is it something, or were you always just confident? You knew that
Oh no,
you were going to
no,
kill it.
no, not at all. I remember in my day job being asked for the first times to do presentations, and I was petrified. Just like I wasn't trying to be funny. I didn't want to be in front of people. Just having, do I have to read these PowerPoints? I was just like, I couldn't. I mean, I did it, but I hated every second of it. I suffered through it.
So,
But over the years, that insecurity has been unlocked.
so
Pretty
what
much.
took you from?
I won't do karaoke though. You will never see me you're not gonna see me sing.
Good.
You know?
Maybe you're not meant for it. You know
No,
what I
I'm
mean?
not meant for it, but also like people are like, but who cares if you don't sing right? I'm like, yeah, I will not do that.
Yeah, I'll never do it either because
Yeah.
I know I can't sing well. I can't even sing bad. Like I'm so horrifying.
Yeah,
when
but
it
I'm not
comes
having
down to it.
fun with friends. Like
That's the other
I
thing.
can't do it. So like
It sounds like a cat on chalkboard. You know, cat
Yeah,
nails on a
yeah,
chalkboard when I sing. So I'll never do that. But
no,
so
I feel nervous about am I gonna bomb or not? That's my anxiety. That's my anxiety is I want everybody to laugh so I can laugh with them. We can all have a fun time. That's my anxiety.
So you remember the first time you bombed? I'm guessing.
No.
Because every comedian says they know it happens. It has to happen in your career.
No, I bombed many times. I bomb regularly. I bomb a couple times a week at least. I try to, otherwise I'm not writing.
What about your first set?
My first set went well because when you tell a crowd this guy's first time doing comedy, the crowd is like so supportive. The fact that you're just doing it, they're so happy. Then you go the next week. I remember when I started in Bangkok, it was kind of the first show went great, second show went okay. Then I started bombing a little bit, and then I was like high, low, high, low, high, low, and then I bombed for 2 months straight.
No shit.
2 entire months, just 2 months of bombing. Every single show that I did, crickets, nothing. And after when I managed to pick something up, some of my friends were like, "Yeah, we're about to tell you to quit." It was just straight bombing for 2 months, and I was like, really like, what am I not getting? Why can't I be funny? Because these ideas in my head feel funny, but I can't make it work.
And did you figure out what it was? Because obviously you've gotten to being extremely funny. So what was it that you kind of?
It's a bit foggy in my brain. If I look in terms of my memory, like I can't say, well, this is what I unlocked, right? But I know that I'm touching on a lot of sad topics, and I was overdoing it.
Okay.
And I learned to tone it down. Like if you're gonna do a suicide joke or you're gonna do
which I love your suicide jokes. They're so good.
Now you
They're
haven't heard
so
all
fucking good. Dude.
You haven't heard the hundreds of bad ones.
Because it's always you dying because of like committing suicide because of a scenario that for most of us is like, but that's normal.
Yeah, but see, at the end of my jokes, I don't die.
This is true.
And I think that's what became one of the keys, at least for my character, because it's about believability of character versus the text that you're saying. So I don't think people were like, well, does he really want to die or not? But at the end of the day, failure versus desire is funny. Like, this guy really wants to die and he just can't. That's funny, you know?
All of us can relate to it. Just take out die with whatever it is that you're trying to do and it's not happening.
Whereas a lot of it was just me talking about depression and, suicidal ideation, and people were just sad. And now, yesterday, the set I did in Fort Worth, I still had a couple of jokes, even though I did great. I had a great set. I mean, I had a great set. But there was still a couple of jokes where people were like, oh, like.
Well, it's Fort Worth.
Yeah, but
Fort Worth crowds will laugh. They'll be with you, but they're also like sympathetic to a big degree. They're like, oh my god, poor poor baby.
I went on stage and people were before I went on stage, people were like, yeah, a lot of people from Fort Worth get really angry if you confuse it with Dallas. If you say that you're in Dallas, And then I was like, okay, I didn't pretend to say it was Dallas. I didn't go because I knew there's a 50% chance I lose them if I do that.
Same goes with Dallas people.
Yeah. But then I just asked them, hey, like, so, like, you guys, like, what's the relationship with Dallas? I was like, do Dallas people think you guys are retarded? And then I got a huge cheer for that. It was kind of funny. They have this. You guys have this competition between Fort Worth and Dallas. That's funny. What?
It's hilarious. So
Yeah.
I'm a new transport to
Yeah.
the state of Texas. I moved here a year and a half ago, so I'm still learning a lot of this. But from what I understand, it's kind of like cowboys
Yeah.
are in Fort Worth, whereas Dallas is more suits and ties.
Yeah.
But that's not true anymore, because if you were in Fort Worth,
Yeah.
you've seen their downtown. It's got humongous buildings, and it's like it's a mix. They do have a lot of more of the rodeo and cowboys and that stuff in towards Fort Worth, but it's like two brothers that love each other and only they can mess around with each other.
Yeah.
Like, God forbid any other place says anything about Fort Worth or Dallas.
Yeah.
We will march together against you.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
We'll
total
like, no,
sense.
hold on now.
Yeah. Hold on.
That's my baby brother. You don't get to
Yeah.
say shit to him. It's that relationship. So it's like mutual respect, but we get to fuck with each other.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It happens in other places in the world. There's small towns next to each other. It's like, they hate each other, but like, don't you come out of this area and criticize any of us? Like, hey, calm down.
Because at the end of the day, we're all the same. We are the same. Like Dallas and Fort Worth people. I mean, I don't get to claim that yet. I haven't lived in Texas long enough, but you're Texans. So like, very different from the rest of America, by the way. You're a Texan first, then you're an American. It's one of those things here that is ingrained. And I like it, actually, because it's kind of like, oh, cool. We get to rebel against everybody else.
That's kind of cool.
It's a lot of fun. So suicide, depression, all of that stuff. Yeah. I know comedy is supposed to come from a place of truth. Is that where that comes from for you? And is it
yes and no
stuff you've dealt with personally?
Yes and no. There's been a lot of death in my family since I'm a kid. In every family there's death.
No,
everybody dies. So
that's the thing.
There's always death. But
it's not. When you say there was a lot of death in my family when I was a kid, so like it's not. That doesn't always translate that way. Like my grandparents passed away in the last 3 years.
Yeah. No. Let's say in my family there were deaths. And I don't want to enter into details, but there were deaths that were not. That there were original deaths. Let's say there were unique ways to die. There were not. Oh, he passed away from natural causes, or he had a heart attack. It was just like, what the hell?
Do you mind
what the hell? No, I'm not.
Please don't tiptoe around it, because
I have to tiptoe around it.
A little bit of anything. Again, this is all about you, your story, so you can cut it off whenever you don't want to talk about a subject. But I feel like unique versus extreme makes it for.
It's a little bit of both, but
like a piano falling from a 14-story building, that's very unique.
Yeah. No, it wasn't funny though. So I wish it had been funny. No, it's just, I don't want to get into it.
No problem.
But it was just, since I'm a kid, I've been like just brushed like close to death, and then I had reasons why I was feeling sad and depressed, and I was like.
So you mentioned your dad lived in LA. Your parents split up at some point.
Yeah, when I was young. Yeah. So. I don't know, but parents split up all the time, and kids are left behind and with one of the parents all the time, or with none of the parents. I'm not unique, but the way I interpreted my reality made me think about many things that now translate into my comedy.
I think what makes unique, and this is very kind of specific to comedians, is a lot of us can give you one traumatic thing, like divorced parents, and that's kind of where it ends. With comedians, it's like
a long series.
They were divorced, and then there was unique deaths, and then there was this, and then there was that, and so you do become unique because if it's a culmination of what most don't deal with.
So now in Fort Worth, we're a group of comedians here between the people that came with me from Austin to open for me, and
can't wait to see them tonight. By the way,
and some friendly. So I met I was just with lunch with this army guy, and he was telling stories from Afghanistan that are real. That are real, right? Like real live action combat.
Things that only a person that was there wouldn't be able to talk about.
Yes, that were completely insane. Just like, how did you survive this? How are you still? And I was asking him, how is really your relationship to life and death right now? And he was talking to me about, to us about his fellow, ex army people friends, and how he is super positive about. He wants to get everything can get out of life before he passes, right? But like things happen to you, and sometimes it's a bit out of the ordinary. And
but here's the thing: So, that may happen to a lot of people,
Yeah.
and overwhelming majority kind of spiral out of control with PTSD,
Yeah.
or with your unique set of circumstances, just fall into a very deep depression, or just kind of like introverted, skate through life, really not wanting anything at all. The uniqueness really does come from those that say, oh, how about I stand out in a crowd and possibly maybe through my pain can transfer it into something good for others. Because that guy saying he wants to live life to the fullest
Yeah.
seems like after what had happened to him,
Yeah, he could be in depression.
it should have been more like a bottle of Jack
It
Daniels
may have
until
been for a while, for all I know, but right now this is where he is
and
at. Yeah.
it's always better when it's that
Yeah.
version, you know what I mean? And
I-
so like that does speak to your
Yeah.
uniqueness as all comedians, and I haven't spoken,
Yeah.
you're number 24, and I haven't had a person in this chair who hasn't had just a bunch of fucked up shit happen when
Oh,
they
yeah.
were kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, when it gets really bad, well, it got worse the year after that, and then my mom died, and then this happened, and you're like, wow, I completely understand
I mean-
how you can transform that into something so beautiful.
But when I see like the suffering that those peoples have gone through, I feel like I was lucky overall. I haven't had that bad of a childhood. I was bullied, and some I've seen some stuff, and some stuff has happened to me, but I wasn't abused. I mean, at least, like I wasn't sexually abused. I wasn't beaten. I wasn't, I didn't have like my brother didn't kill himself right next to me, or whatever people happens to people, right? I was just like, but I've just been always in touch with darkness. Like when I was a kid, I was less than 10 years old. I had nightmares all the time, thinking about death all the time. I was just drawing skeletons with their skulls open. But because I had been in adjacent contact with death all the time, so I was questioning it, and I'm trying to understand, trying to make sense of it all the time.
And did you ever make sense of it? Did you become
No.
comfortable with that reality
No.
at any point?
No.
So it's still something you struggle
Yes,
with.
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But,
I don't know what to say. This shit
but
fuck.
no, but like, listen, I'm right now I'm not on antidepressants. I'm not taking meds. I'm functional. I have a day job.
You have a career. You don't have
have
a
a
day. You're not
career.
bartending trying to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
it. You
I have a
what you
career.
just explained what you do.
Yeah.
Most of us, including myself here, can't do. Even though I have a degree, I can't do that shit because like I don't do numbers. I hate numbers more than anything else in the world.
I can teach you my job in 3 weeks.
Stop. Don't.
I'm
Seriously,
exaggerating. That's not true.
you don't know how stupid I am.
No, but it's not even true because I feel like sometimes I feel like my job's super easy because I've been doing it for so long. But then I look at how my junior colleagues are doing my job, and I'm like, no, you're screwing up right now. But it's because I have hindsight of experience, and I know that if we do it this way, it's gonna lead into that. If we do that this way, we're gonna lead into that. When you have this negotiation, you talk to these people, you should put the benchmark here so that to lead them into a trap here, and then to make them go here, and then you go here, and then you communicate them this way, and they're like, what the hell? I was like, yeah. But
You've put the jigsaw puzzle together
Yeah,
multiple times.
exactly. For me, it takes me like 30 seconds to do all of that.
That's
Which was part of why I ended up doing this challenge, and the whole thing with Kill Tony is because I was A, nihilistic, B, I'm on an adventure, and it's a bucket list thing, and C, I can just run these scenarios in my head very, very fast.
So did you know about Kill Tony prior to getting to Austin?
I knew about Kill Tony, but I wasn't like, I live in Brussels. Is kind of like
That's what I'm wondering. Like, does
see
our
clips-
YouTube translate over there? Like, does the
Yeah,
same
it
kind of
does.
algorithm work in Brussels, or
I
is
mean,
it
I
different?
watch a lot of comedy, so it's suggesting clips, it eventually always suggests Kill Tony, so you know what it is. But it's more, it's such a far removed reality. Like I tell people, like when I was watching comedy on YouTube, I was like, Vulcan is this mythical place.
I know until you get there.
And then you get to Vulcan, it's like,
The small club.
it's a club.
It's a small
It's
club.
a club.
Like any
I've been
other
to
club.
other clubs. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice, but it's not. But from far away, you're like, my God, I hope one day.
Because that
Vulcan.
fucking wall is so big looking in the Kill Tony.
It's so mythical. That wall is mythical. And then
You're
when
like,
I
what's
got,
behind it?
yeah, nothing.
Exactly. Sorry
I'm
to the Vulcan Gas Company. It's
No.
still an awesome club. I love
No.
that club.
Yeah, I met the
I've
owner
been there
recently.
multiple times. It's awesome, but
I met the owner recently in both of them, and they were adorable to me. And I love the place. They're welcoming people. I'm not shitting on it. It's more from Europe. You're like putting this place. It's Vulcan. Gas and Company. It sounds like a garage, but it's a club. And I said, what is that? It's got metal-looking walls with textures. It must be. And then you get there, it's like, oh, it's a well-decorated club.
Yeah.
With people partying in it. Like, oh, I got that back home, actually. Like, it's not...
I swear to God, before I walked into Vulcan Gas Company, I thought it was some oil refiner that got turned into a club.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought this was like a humongous warehouse, and that is an oil drum that was for crude oil that was being refined. And I was like, that makes sense. Austin, Texas in like the 20s or 30s, maybe, you know, and then just kind of the world built around it. And then you get there and you're like, oh no, somebody was just smart. Yeah. And they just did it right.
And the name is great.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's beautiful. It's great, but it's okay.
It's done very well.
And don't get me wrong, I'm really happy I performed there. I'm really proud of myself for getting myself from where I was to being able to perform in Austin and these places I performed at. But I'm like, you know, myth versus reality. So did I know about Kiltony? Yes, but I also wasn't thinking, oh, because I traveled to people, I was like, you're going to Austin? Are you going to be on Kiltony? I'm like, well, it's a lottery. I have no clue. That's not why I'm going there. That's not my objective.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Kiltony can't be an objective when you come to do comedy in Austin. It's like, if you get it, great, but you're supposed to make it work without it.
Obviously, I don't think the Golden Buzzer was anything you were expecting. Or
the Golden Buzzer is America's Got Talent thing.
Or all this that's kind of like... Is it? Doesn't he call it a Golden Buzzer?
No, the buzzer is on America's Got Talent.
So what does he call it? Is it
Ticket?
Golden Ticket. I'm so sorry.
The Willy Wonka factory. I know you're just passed out. It's fine.
Sorry. Yeah, Golden.
Yeah. I don't care. For all it's the same thing.
You know what I meant.
I know exactly what you meant.
It was the Golden.
Yeah, you
Ticket.
can't count on any of that.
No.
Honestly, when I did my set and people were not shitting on me in the panel, I was like, "What's happening here?" Because they were just giving me compliments. I was like, "So when are you gonna roast me?"
Yeah,
I was just waiting for it. Look at me. Just look at my body. Just make fun of me right now. It's why it's like.
So have you watched the taping of that?
I did because I cut clips out of it, so I watched it. Yeah.
Because if you look at it, you could literally see Red Band and Kiltony's like gears turning as you're doing your set. It's not their regular face. It's a different face that only happens. It only happens when they're like seriously interested. Who's on? Like Aaron Belial was like that when he went on the stage for the first time. They're like. The holy shit kind of moment happens, and they're both thinking, how do we continue this? How do we make sure that, like, if this is real, that this fire doesn't burn out? Because they're also smart businessmen. They're like, this show can have a viral moment if this guy really is it. Yeah. So I think it was one of those moments you can tell. I was like, oh shit, this is going to be special. Well, this is going to be fucking special.
I'm happy that's what they thought, and I'm happy they gave me the opportunities they've given me, you know.
So since the live taping hasn't aired, but we still talked about the results because the entire world knows what the results are at this point. Are you allowed to talk about what's happening with your kind of like, because you were supposed to take a hiatus from Kiltony, right? If you lost. Yeah. But it doesn't seem like you did.
I mean, I'm going back to Europe on Wednesday.
I know, but like you said, you already did an episode, right?
Not really. You'll see. Just keep watching the show. You'll understand.
All right. So you can't divulge too much about
I don't want to, no.
Okay. So, but that's coming out when? When is that episode?
I mean, the New Year's Eve episode.
No. The one that you said keep watching the show because I've seen the New Year's Eve one.
I mean, for sure, if it comes out, it will be after New Year's Eve show comes out.
Okay, and that one is coming out.
I'm assuming 5th of February. I'm assuming that's my calculation, not any information I received because they said 5 weeks.
Okay, so that
and the 5th is a Monday, so I'm assuming that's when it will come out. And then the next one then would be, I guess, the following week.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're just gonna have to wait a little bit longer to see what happens. Just wait a little bit.
It's fine. You'll see.
So you go back to Brussels on Wednesday. When are you coming back?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Nothing has been decided yet.
No, something has been decided.
Oh fuck! God damn it!
Just keep watching. I don't want to spoil it for you. You're a fan of the show.
Definitely. No, I mean, so I actually became a fan of Kiltony as a result of COVID.
Oh,
just like trying to find new things. So I wasn't like diehard from day one.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I've 3-4 years into it now, and I genuinely enjoy the show. It's good.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, but like that's one of the cool things about COVID was like we got to discover so much new shit. Yeah, and thankfully it's over because now we get people to come across the pond, as they say in Britain, and kind of like fuck around with us and have fun here.
Well, yeah, I'm excited. Like a lot of people back home are like, I can't believe you went there and you got there and you did that, and it's kind of exciting. Yeah.
How did the whole signing up for Kiltony thing happen? It was like, I know it wasn't the objective, but was it like, while I'm out here, might as well kind of a thing?
Yeah, of course. I'm out here. I'm gonna sign up.
Right.
I'm not gonna not sign up.
Yeah, like,
You know,
not shoot yourself in the foot.
yeah,
But was there a game plan for coming to Austin? Was there like you had already talked to some clubs, or you were just like, you know what, they're saying it's pretty easy to sign up and get some time. Let me just go see what
no,
happens.
I had my tickets, and then I started getting in touch with some venues to see if they would have me. I was getting blanked by everyone except Francisco Rincon, who's a regular at Mothership, and
Hilarious guy.
yeah, and
I've seen him live, I think, at the Creek once.
yeah, he opened for me yesterday. I mean, we're buddies. Like and he gave me he saw my clips online, and then he reached out to me and he gave me first spots, and he started introducing me to the Austin scene.
Okay.
But I did know, okay, Kiltony's taped on Mondays, so like I booked myself the flight so I could stay an extra month. Like, you know, like why leave on a Sunday if I could leave on a Tuesday?
Right.
And you know, so I knew I was gonna I would have 5 chances to sign up for the show, and in the meantime, knowing that my comedy is good for the show because of the format, because I can destroy a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have long setups like certain comedians,
Yeah.
and those are great, but
It's
you
great.
don't have the time for it.
No, I'm yeah. So I'm like, let me have those 5 shots and see if I get lucky. And in the meantime, well, I even thought, even if it goes to shit, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, I'm in Costa Rica. You can just fly down and come and stay with me, and I'll show you around we can go to the beach and stuff."
Costa Rica's awesome.
Yeah, I've never been, so I was like, if Austin is crap, I can just go to Costa Rica right now. So I had backup plans for my holidays, regardless.
And it was what, week 3 that you got on, or 2?
No, day 3.
Day 3.
Yeah.
So you
I
just
landed on Saturday. I was in Kiltony on Monday.
no shit.
Yeah.
Oh damn! I thought you were on the 3rd week that you were
No.
out here. So my mistake.
Day 3. Yeah, it was stupid. Yeah.
And then it just kind of started from there.
Yeah, and it was funny because the Norwegian guy, Andreas Bag, that got picked on the same day as me, he
Yeah.
he landed that morning. It was just, we had just arrived there. It was like, okay, I guess we get to do Kiltony and kill. It was great.
And then that's kind of how you have the proof that this show is definitely a lottery. There is no kind of like predetermined bullshit. Your name was in a bucket, and you
No, my
pulled.
name was pulled out of the bucket. That I know. But is it rigged or not? To this day, even I have questions.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not shitting on the show, Tony, when you watch this, if it gets clipped. I'm just saying there are conspiracy.
Yeah, right. Tony's gonna watch this.
You'd be, they read Reddit, they'll go over everything.
I mean, I'd be honored if
Dude,
if
no,
this ever went across his iPhone. But
Red Band checks every Reddit thread. But I'm thinking there are conspiracy theories, and when I hear some of them, I'm like, it's like they have good arguments. They have good arguments. In some cases, you're like, well, I mean, this guy got on the show, but he was just here, but then he knew this guy, but then all of that, you know?
Okay.
So you never know. You never know.
I'll put it to you this way.
Yeah.
If I had the unique format that is that show, and I knew that maybe my numbers haven't been where I want them to be on YouTube, and there's a murmur of someone that's been just murdering, because 6th Street is a small spot.
Oh, yeah,
everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody talks.
Yeah. It goes fast, yeah.
Yeah. So like everybody know it's gonna go viral within that street of everybody's gonna know who's funny and who's
But
new
like
in town.
I hadn't been there long enough to impress almost anyone, you know what I mean? There's no
not for you, but
Not
per
for
se to the conspiracy theory that it might be rigged. If I was a smart businessman that wanted to have notoriety and popularity and kind of viral moments and shit, yeah, I might dip a name or two out of that bucket,
and I wouldn't
the
blame
way I
them.
want that, because I can't keep relying on shit day in, day out. And let's be honest here, like there's like a 70% failure rate on that show of being funny.
Yeah.
If you look at like
I mean, I don't know the numbers. I believe
I'm guessing. I'm
guessing,
guessing, but the way I envision it, like comedians that are really funny that get on that show aren't that many.
No.
There's good ones that have potential, but there's way more like shitty ones.
Oh yeah.
And there's always the ones, I've never done comedy before. And this is what you decided was the best place to try it out?
Yeah, but the people, it's a bucket list thing for them. Like I honestly, like anybody that's bombing is proof they came out of the bucket straight. Like nobody's picking their name in a rigged way. The question is, did this person who was funny get it pulled out of the bucket by luck or not? You know? But to me, everybody I talk to, like I've had the chance to talk to in production, so far it doesn't seem rigged. But on the other hand, I'm paranoid. I have little paranoid thoughts that I like to play around with. if anybody on Reddit or YouTube is like, this is rigged, there's no way, I'm asking myself the same questions. As an audience member, as an audience of the show, I have the same questions.
As an audience member,
Yeah.
a part of me wants certain, like a little bit of it to be rigged,
Yeah.
because then it kind of makes me admire the show more, because now you've got like really good comedians sometimes seeking out others and just pulling them up.
Oh yeah.
Then I'm like, yeah, this is really good. And I could understand how everybody else might have a different opinion of like, well, it's fake and this. And like, no, dude, maybe you don't understand what the real world actually is. Sometimes people need a leg up, and sometimes somebody has to be there to give them that leg up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
100%.
And if the person wasn't genuinely funny to begin with, nobody would ever pull them out of the bucket in a rigged fashion, let's say. That's fair to say.
Almost anybody that I mean, I don't know enough the show enough to know this for a fact, but the impression I have is that when people are complaining online that this person must have been rigged for this person to be pulled, it was always someone funny though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's always someone that made the show better. So I think it's good.
Yeah.
Even if it was rigged, you heard funny jokes and you had a good moment watching the show.
And here's the thing. I've been lucky enough to kind of be in Dallas and have a few good comedians from here get picked over there on Kill Tony, and I've gotten to interview them. I know they weren't like anything more than just a stroke of luck. And it just happened.
For mine was, I thought I thought the show was over. Because I was looking at my watch and I thought it was over. I got picked second to last or something, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the show was almost over. But I mean, that's the other thing. He's like, he says it every time. He's like, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You never know if this next person is that person, and then it ends up being like that.
Yeah.
So, you and Hans are okay?
Ask Hans.
I would like to.
I'm okay.
I haven't had the chance to.
Okay.
I know you were okay from day one, though, because
I'm okay.
I felt like you took this, it was a good strategy, and I was like, if played well, both of them end up winning, no matter how you look at it.
I hope he's okay. I haven't had the chance to see him enough to make sure he's okay.
All right.
I hope he's okay.
I hope so. He's okay too.
Yeah. Kind of like for the show, I hope he's not okay, Mark, because it's gonna be way more fun for everyone. But like from a human perspective, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, me too. Because like I genuinely, as an outsider, thought of this as so well planned by both of you.
Yeah.
And then I saw the live show, and I was like, maybe not. And that was my conspiracy theorist thing of like, was this not well orchestrated the way I want and hoped it would be? Maybe not. I don't know. That's kind of what I walked away with. But
watch the New Year's Eve show.
Yeah, everybody watched the New Year's Eve show. That's what I'm basing it off of. That's kind of like I walked away from that show going like, I don't think this was as
well. I walked away from the stage with the same impression you did.
Yeah. So maybe I'm not paranoid about this, and it is what it is. Outside of that, 5 years into comedy, let's put Kill Tony aside for a second. I want to know, what's the longest set you've done? And what is, like, are you ready for like an hour? And is that something you're working on?
Oh, yeah, I'm working on an hour. Yesterday I did 58 minutes.
Okay.
But it's not an hour of material. It was about 30 minutes of material, including some crowd work, and then a Q&A.
Okay.
That went well, so we stretched it to 58 minutes.
So 30 minutes you are comfortable with, though? You think you got a solid 30?
I have a pretty solid 30, and if the crowd work goes well during that 30, then I don't even have to use all of my material. I can just because what people don't see in Kill Tony is I do a lot of crowd work in my set. Yeah,
and that's what I didn't get to see on Banana Phone, because it's not crowd work in the same sense. No. It's really just trying to roast each other.
Yeah. So I'm trying to like make that work because I've seen what the other one-liner greats do, right? And like Jimmy Carr has entire segments of crowd work, but they're calculated, and he'll stay in that pocket for a while, then he'll go back to his jokes, and then he'll have another pocket. He's got like 2 or 3 pockets of crowd work that are scheduled in his set. Yeah, I mean he makes it look very natural, but it's there. Stephen Wright that you have on your wall,
the king of one-liners,
but I watch his specials. It's tough after a certain amount of time.
I agree.
Because it's like, I can't take this much information for this long. At some point, you need a relief. So I'm trying to, Jeselnik has longer chunks. Like he'll do one-liners, he'll do short bits, and then he'll do like a 7-minute chunk, and he'll end up with like a 15-minute chunk.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see what my predecessors are doing and see how I can elevate it and learn from the best and give my own touch to it. But I'm working on it. Now when I go back to Brussels, I'll have my hour show in Brussels and in Rotterdam in French and in English. I got a couple of dates at each place at Kings of Comedy Club in Brussels and at Comedy Club Haug in the Netherlands.
Say that again.
Well, it's run by Marcel Haug. It's a difficult last name to pronounce if you're not Dutch.
Okay.
It's Haug. But this guy has been working with the greats for over 20 years. He's been booking.
Wow.
He had Patrice O'Neill. He had Bill Burr. He's a reference in comedy in Europe.
That's really cool.
His club to this day is one of the best run clubs I've ever been into in my life. It's perfect. It's perfect. He's got several rooms. Everything's recorded. You get the footage. It's like edited footage. It's incredible.
Wow. How are French crowds?
Difficult. Difficult.
Tell me more, because this is actually very interesting for us. Because like English comedy, it's kind of universal. It'll if you understand English, you're gonna pretty much understand what they were going for.
No, but like
French is so different.
France has a long tradition of theater.
Do they even laugh?
But yeah, they laugh. But they have a long tradition of theater.
Yes.
And they have a long tradition of that live entertainment has to have some component of being intellectual. So
okay.
So if you go cheap, they're like, meh, whatever. Like here you say a dick joke and people are like, haha, I wanted to laugh tonight. I don't need it to be, you need to change my entire perception of reality for me to laugh. But over there, they're like, you better be funny. It better be good. It better be well written. Come on, monkey. Entertain me. You better be good at this. And it's tough. But when you get them, you end up with a golden ticket.
Got it.
That's the thing.
Okay.
So tough crowd. But they laugh.
And
they laugh.
Are the jokes the same or
same?
I mean, obviously not the dick jokes, but like the ones that are more multi-layered and kind of like talk about depression and suicide and then ultimately not being able to kill yourself. Does that stuff kind of work over there too?
Yeah, they're a little more sensitive than here.
Okay, so what do you change things up for them? Do you leave things out?
No.
They just gotta.
I need to figure it out.
Take it.
No, they don't need to take it. I need to figure it out. It makes me work harder. If I can get them to laugh, like if here during a set of like 30 jokes I get 3 maybe over there I'm getting 10 whatever. You know what I mean? I'm exaggerating. It's maybe not exact numbers, and I also have great nights where I'm just killing depending on who's in the crowd, right? But if I get an average crowd that's a little sensitive and a little woke, they're so difficult. But what I'm saying, they have to take the fact that this is a material I want to talk about. What I have to figure out is how do I bring this material to them.
And is wokeism
I'm not gonna write jokes that cater to them in content. Okay. But I need to be able to make them laugh with my content. That's the struggle, right? So how do I bring this material in? How do I make them laugh with it? And then when I do these same jokes here, I'm just like crushing because they're so hard.
Yeah, I mean
that's not Europe. That's French.
Very French thing.
Yeah.
Okay, because this stuff that you do in Brussels in English just fine.
But it's also like
Bangkok too.
But it's also like a capital crowd. The moment I get out of Brussels and I go to a village in the nowhere, in a small town.
Okay, yeah.
Working class people that are confronted with reality and tougher jobs and they're struggling more to get to the end of the month with their paycheck. They laugh their asses off.
Because it's more relatable to them.
They're more relatable, and also the moment you get out of the capital, people are more like buddy banter culture because it's a different culture than in the capital. It's like, are you from New York City, Manhattan, or are you from Jersey? You know what I mean? It's not the same people. But
Jersey people don't want you to say that.
No, but that's not
Jersey, upstate New York versus New York City. They will agree that they're very different from each other. But like Jersey people genuinely think that they're better than New Yorkers.
No, I'm not saying that Jersey is less good than New York or the other way around.
I'll fucking say it right now.
But I don't even know. But what I'm saying is, I know they don't agree. I know they have different cultures of communication.
Yeah, because New Jersey doesn't want to literally admit that New York City is New York City. Just let it go, dude. You're never going to be that.
I understand, but like
they don't. No, that's the problem.
But what I'm saying is this thing that happens between New Jersey and Manhattan happens everywhere in the world with other big cities and neighboring other cities.
Okay, now I understand what you're saying.
So-
yeah, you're very, very right.
So, and the humor the reaction in a comedy club will be different from one. It's different. So it's the same pattern of behavior applies in other places. That's all I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm not shitting on New Jersey or Manhattan, just for the record.
I still want to perform there.
No, because I'm not from there, so I'm not there. I can't really judge.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. No, I completely understand what you're saying. Even here, like go outside of Dallas, drive 45 minutes, not towards Fort Worth, but like south, and you'll get a very big difference in the types of people that are here. Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
it makes a huge difference. Do you prefer one crowd over the other?
No, I want to be able to perform to all crowds. So what I want, I don't get to choose my crowds. What I need to understand is how do I learn what I need to do when I'm facing a different crowd. And sometimes I'll be bombing and it's on me because I didn't get, I should have started this way with these people. I should have started this way with these people. Or I should have brought the energy. It's you have to figure it out.
And I think that's going to be just more over time, doing more shows with different crowds and varied places.
That's what you can't replace. Like that's where talent is great, but you need experience.
Yeah, you got to put the work in. This is what everybody says.
Yeah. So that's why it's 10 years.
So you still think that that your track, you're 5 years into it, you think there is another 5 until you kind of get to where...
I mean, honestly, I hope in 5 years I'm so much better than I am now. I want to be so much better than what I am now.
I mean, it seems like the strategy that you've cultivated of like putting yourself in uncomfortable situations with different crowds, even doing a different language where, probably most of us couldn't even imagine being on a stage, much less doing it not in our native language. I don't know. French isn't your native language though, right?
It's kind of, kind of. I'm fluent in French. Yeah.
Spanish also?
Yeah.
Have you done comedy in Spanish?
Yeah, not as much, but I have, yeah.
Do the crowds kind of react to it well?
Yeah.
Because I know, here, Spanish comedy is a big thing.
I had a set in Madrid. It was very funny. I was crushing super hard. Like, really, just people were dying. It was one of my best sets overall. And this lady just interrupted me in the front. She was like, "I'm in love with you." I guess I'm killing tonight. I guess this is going well. It was a good set.
That's got to be an awesome feeling.
It was pretty good. It was funny.
Yeah.
And I saw her after. I was out, and she was like shivering next to me.
Oh shit! She was really into you, huh?
Yeah, no, she was really into me, and I was like, it's cool, but I also I felt like, okay, I need to distance myself from this because it's not what you want.
Diez, are you getting your first stalker?
Yeah, no, I was not stalking, but it was more, she's starstruck right now, and I know I'm a nobody, so I need to, okay, you know what I mean? It's good. That was just too much power out of the joke for some,
I get what it was going
funny,
to your head, and you're like, I don't need this right now.
No, it was great. It was a beautiful moment. It was so much fun. Yeah.
So I guess I can't ask when you're gonna come back because that's just keep watching Kill Tony.
Yeah.
And you've got your 30 minutes. You're going back on Wednesday. I'm wondering what I can kind of go into before we end. I want to ask maybe one more thing, because I know you have a show today.
Yeah, I have a few things I need to do.
Yeah. So I don't want to keep you here longer than needed, and I appreciate this.
One more question. Let's go.
So, all right. Let's see. One more question would be, ideally, when you have the next 5 years passed, where do you see your career where you would be satisfied?
5 years?
So you hit the 10-year mark, and you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, this is what we were supposed to do. Where are you in that stage?
I hate thinking like that. I would say if in 10 years I'm still alive.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, no, you never know. I could get in an accident right out of here.
True.
I'm still alive in 5 years. I am still performing comedy. I am making more money with comedy. Is now my main source of income, and I make more money with comedy than I do with my current job. That's where I'd like to be. I don't know.
I'm sorry, it's a cliche question, but we kind of you touched upon, thinking there was another 5 years until the 10-year mark hit. So I was just wondering, what was your personal roadmap?
There's a few clubs that I don't have a roadmap.
That's a better question, actually.
Listen,
what clubs do you want to perform at that you haven't?
Yeah, I don't really care about getting a Netflix special, or if I get it, it's great, but I don't know by the time I'm ready for it, I don't know if Netflix will be the platform. I don't know.
OnlyFans seems to be
doubling
down on this whole comedy thing. It seems like they're putting a lot of money and resources behind
OnlyFans
TV. Yeah.
I don't. I'm not at that. I'm not. I don't care about. I mean, when I say I don't care, it doesn't mean I don't want to do it. It's just. It's not. It's just not objectives. I don't. I'm not dreaming about being on TV or in movies or. I just want to. Can I? Am I getting better at comedy? Am I funnier? Am I being recognized for being funnier? Like, can people see the progress? And is my, I don't want to say fan base, but are there people that enjoy my comedy? Do they still enjoy my comedy? And do they still stand by do they still feel like I'm, giving them something that they're enjoying? And that's, but seeing beyond that, I find it silly because you never know where life is really going to take you. And I want to be open to opportunities as they come and be flexible. If I have a very strict plan, I'll be afraid of deviating from that plan. If I have no plan, I can just make things, seize things, Right. Clubs that I want to perform at, when the clubs think I'm ready to perform at them, are the Cellar and the Comedy Store. But then there's
So New York and LA.
I mean, dude, it's just Seinfeld and Pryor,
And look,
it's those two stages I was seeing on TV. I'm not dissing any other great clubs like in Chicago or in Boston, all the classics, and in the center of the U.S. Like, I want to do all of it, but if I can do one day the main room at the Store and do the main room at Comedy Cellar, that's my dream. I could honestly just fail as a comedian, but have performed there, and I will have succeeded with all of my dreams. It's the only thing I want to achieve.
Cellar and the Comedy Store.
If it takes me 20 or 30 years to do it, I'll get. But those are the only two dreams I have. Is performing in those two rooms.
I doubt it's gonna take anywhere near that much time.
I have no clue. Don't have a clue. I cannot predict how long anything's gonna take.
No, you maybe don't want to, but I can.
Or not, or I'm not. I'm just a guy that just progresses at a steady pace. Like, you'd never know. And comedy bookers are very specific about what they like and what they don't like. They're they've seen it all. They've seen comedian after comedian show up with promise. They were overhyped because online they were getting hyped, but when they see them, they're like, well, I can see why he's not ready, because they compare them to those Harlan Williams or to whoever they see on the Daily, or to Attell, these are people. Yeah. So these are people they see every, several times a week, and they're like, well, okay, this guy has promise, but we know where he is really.
I mean, Chris Rock works out in New York City.
Exactly.
So that's a guy that's there a lot.
So the last thing I'm going to be is like feeling that because I have a little bit of clout, I'm going to be entitled to anything. These people, this is my bucket list. And if one day they feel like, yeah, you can come and do 3 minutes, just to walk on that stage will feel like a privilege to me.
So I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so
I know
much.
you have a show tonight and a flight back early next week. Thank you again. I will see you in 7 o'clock, right? Is the show starts?
Yes.
So I'll see you guys at 7. I got a ticket before you went sold out.
Are we doing on time? All right. Okay.
You got an hour and a half. You're all right.
All right.
You'll
Okay.
get the
Thank
club's
you.
10 minutes from here.
Yeah, but I'm going to go now.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You can find me at SadmanRic, SadmanRic on every single platform. That's it.
Ric Diez, thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a great show.